It is June 1972. You wake to icy floors in a Britain where fewer than 1 in 3 homes has central heating, and the day's only news comes from BBC Radio reading headlines about striking miners and bombings in Northern Ireland. No screens, no cards, just the reality of cash, tea and chores defining every moment. But what hidden struggles and routines did normal life demand 50 years ago, and what would it really feel like to live through an ordinary, unspectacular Tuesday as it happened? Here is how each hour unfolded. The alarm rattles on the bedside table, loud enough to pull you from sleep. It's a wind-up clock, the kind with a metal bell that rings until you press the button on top. There's no gentle fade-in, no soft music, just the sudden clang of morning. You reach out from under heavy blankets, layers piled thick to keep out the chill. Bedrooms in 1972 aren't heated, and only about a quarter of homes have central heating. Yours isn't one of them. The air bites at your face and hands. You swing your feet out of bed and land on cold linoleum, the kind that never quite loses its chill. Carpets are for downstairs if you have them at all. Upstairs it's lino or bare boards, and the cold seeps through your slippers. You pull on a quilted dressing gown, thick and padded, and tie it tight around your waist. The window glass is misted from your breath, and the faint smell of paraffin lingers. Last night's heater, now cold and silent, sits by the door. Downstairs there is a gas fire, or maybe a paraffin stove waiting to be lit, but up here you move quickly, chasing warm. The hallway is just as cold, the stairs creak beneath your feet, and every step is a reminder that heat is something you have to earn. The house is quiet, no hum of electronics, just the sound of your own footsteps and the distant promise of a warm kitchen below. The kitchen is the only place in the house that feels truly warm. Steam rises from a battered kettle on the gas hob, filling the air with a damp, comforting heat. The table is set with thick mugs and a proper teapot, its lid rattling as loose-leaf tea swirls inside. Someone pours, straining the leaves through a metal sieve. Strong, dark tea lands in each cup, followed by a splash of full-fat milk and 2 spoonfuls of sugar, stirred in with a clink. Toast pops up, thick slices from a white loaf, buttered while hot so it melts into the crumb. Marmalade glistens in a chipped dish. On some mornings, there is a boiled egg, but cornflakes, poured from a cardboard box, are just as likely. The radio sits on the windowsill, tuned to BBC Radio 4. The announcer's voice is clipped, calm and impossibly posh, reading the news once through. Today's bulletin leads with the miners' pay dispute. Miners have rejected the government's 8.5% offer, and talk of strikes hangs in the air. There is mention of more trouble in Northern Ireland, another bombing overnight, soldiers killed in Belfast. Finally, a word about the upcoming Olympics in Munich, where security concerns are growing. No one interrupts the news. There are no headlines to scroll, no second chances to catch what you missed. The news finishes, the kettle is refilled, and conversation returns to the table. The day outside feels uncertain, but in this moment, breakfast is steady, familiar, and shared. The street outside hums with quiet routine as you step out, your breath clouding in the morning air. The bus stop stands at the corner, its timetable behind scratched glass, numbers and time set with the certainty of habit. The number 42 pulls up, 2-tone green, double-decker, its doors hissing open. You join the queue, nodding to faces you know only from these mornings. No one checks a watch, everyone trusts the bus, and the bus is nearly always on time. Coins clink in your pocket, ready for the fare. 8 new pence, still strange to some, handed to the conductor waiting inside. He wears a navy uniform and a peaked cap, a ticket machine slung at his hip. With a practiced motion, he spins the handle, tears off a paper ticket, and hands it over with a nod. Upstairs, the air is thick with cigarette smoke. Half the passengers light up before the bus has turned the first corner. The smell of tobacco and damp wool coats fills the upper deck. Downstairs, windows fog with condensation, and chatter mixes with the low rumble of the engine. The bus rolls past rows of terraced houses, corner shops with painted signs, and the odd milk float rattling home. Everyone is carried forward together, each person's day ticking along to the same invisible clock. The office comes to life in a steady rhythm. Metal desks line the floor, painted in dull shades of green and grey, each one topped with a manual typewriter. Typists hammer out letters and invoices, the clack and ding of each carriage return blending into a constant mechanical pulse. Mistakes are inevitable. A bottle of Tipex sits ready, the sharp smell of solvent rising as someone dabs a correction and fans it dry. Carbon paper is layered beneath forms, so every hard press makes 2, sometimes 3 copies at once. Paperwork piles up, sorted into battered filing trays and thick folders stacked in metal cabinets. Phones ring with a heavy, rattling sound, their rotary dials slow and deliberate. Colleagues call out across the room, no emails, no instant messages, just raised voices and the shuffle of shoes on linoleum. By mid-morning, the air is already tinged with cigarette smoke. More than half the staff light up at their desks, ashtrays filling steadily. At 10:30 sharp, the tea trolley rattles in. An older woman in a housecoat pours strong tea into white cups and hands out digestive biscuits, 2 pence each. For 15 minutes, work stops. People gather, chat, and dunk their biscuits, the break as much a ritual as any meeting. Then it is back to the keys and the files, the day measured out in tea and typewriter ribbons. Lunch means stepping out into a high street that feels personal, not corporate. Every shop is run by someone you know or at least recognize. A butcher in a blood-stained apron, a baker with flour on his sleeves. The greengrocer's crates spill over with loose carrots and potatoes, prices scribbled in marker on bits of card. There is no plastic wrapping, just brown paper and string. If you need money, you head to the bank. No cash machines here, those are for big cities, and even then there are not many. You queue at the counter, fill out a withdrawal slip with a pen chained to the desk, and slide it through a gap in the glass. The teller counts out crisp pound notes and heavy coins, each transaction face to face. 95% of purchases in Britain are made with cash. Your wallet is your budget. When it is empty, you stop spending. A cheese and pickle sandwich from the bakery costs 12 pence, wrapped in waxed paper. The cafe next door serves tea in thick cups, steam curling above formica tables. There is no rush, just the gentle churn of people coming and going, each one living by the rhythm of coins and conversation. Shops close early, so the end of the workday means a quick dash. You hurry along the high street, watching the clock, because most places shut their doors by 5:30, and if you are late, there is no second chance. You pop into the grocer, grab a tin of beans and a loaf of bread, and join the queue. The cashier rings up each item on a chunky mechanical till, every sale punctuated by a sharp ka-ching. No barcodes, no scanners, just prices tapped out by hand and change counted back into your palm. If you need to send an urgent message, the only option is a telegram from the post office, paid by the word, and you keep it brief. Thursday is the only night for late shopping, so tonight, if you forget something, you will have to go without until tomorrow. The street empties as shutters come down, and you head home with your bag of groceries, ready for whatever is cooking in the kitchen. Dinner comes early, just after 6, with the family gathered around a table that has seen decades of meals. Plates are loaded with what is on hand, fish fingers if money is tight, or maybe a pork chop and some boiled potatoes, peas from a tin, carrots sliced thick. The table is crowded with elbows and conversation, the clatter of cutlery, the scrape of chairs on lino. There is no rush. No one eats alone or in front of a screen. After the plates are cleared, everyone drifts to the living room. The television is already humming, a wooden box with a small screen and 3 channels. Outside, the street quiets. Shops are dark, curtains drawn, and the only sound is the distant bark of a dog or the faint rattle of a milk float returning empty bottles. The town settles, one house at a time. Half a century later, daily life moves faster, but the basics of connection, routine, and uncertainty remain. As technology accelerates, nostalgia for ordinary days grows. The measure of progress isn't just convenience, it's what we keep and what we let slip away. What would your normal day leave behind?